everyone. This is ACDC, Araceli and Colette at the Dynamic Change. And my name is Araceli and I'm a transition wealth advisor. And as you know, I work with professional women to rearrange their finances so they can get better results quicker. And we have a very special guest today. But first, Colette, can you tell us who you are and introduce our guest?
Of course. Hi, everybody. My name is Colette Raba, and I'm a residential real estate broker in the GTA West. And so I'd like to work anywhere from Etobicoke, West Etobicoke, all the way to Burlington, Oakville, Mississauga, even Brampton. But our special guest today is actually a very good friend of both of ours, and we love her so much. I feel like Oprah when I announce you. So her name is Hailey Patry. Her company is The Lifted Lid. She is a best-selling author. She's amazing. So I'm gonna just let her do it because she's way better at introducing herself. But welcome, Hailey.
It's so great to be with both of you ladies. I adore you both. And I'm excited for our show today to talk about the juicy subject of goals.
Yes, well, we are almost at the end of the year, so this is a perfect timing. If you haven't set goals, Hailey's going to give you some very good tips. She's fantastic at it. So go ahead, Hailey. Tell us who you are, who you work with, and how can people set goals in a better way?
Thank you so much, ladies. Well, my name's Hailey. I am a happily married mom of 3 boys. So if you know busy, I know busy too. We live in Halton and our kids are 15, 7, and 5. So we got a little bit of elementary, a little bit of high school, and a lot of chaos in between. And I run my coaching institute, which is called The Lifted Lid. And the reason for the name is people usually come to me when they're feeling stuck. And it is my job to help you lift the lid and just live your life untethered, unencumbered, so you can have great results. And I love to support you through areas such as your happiness, your romantic relationships, and your business success. And today I am putting on my hat as the business coach so that we can talk about how to create better goals and some best practices to actually achieve those goals. So you come out the end of the year proud of yourself.
Yeah, and it's not just we're not just talking about business goals. We can also talk about personal goals too, because a lot of the times, especially during COVID, it's hard to, this is a personal thing for me, is there are some people that really thrived through COVID and some people that just got stuck. And it's, what's the difference? And how do you take that moment to breathe and say, okay, you know what, whatever's going on outside is totally, I have to pivot, or I have to work around this kind of craziness.
And goals are the magic in there, Colette.
Exactly.
You said, why some people pivot well and maybe others don't. We all get impacted from different outside factors, but some of us live on autopilot, so we are always at the effect of those things. And others of us, we live on purpose, so we are in the creating mode. We are generating, we are setting intentions, we're setting goals and action plans. And that doesn't mean we're immune to the crushing force of outside pressures, but it means we are going in a particular direction and we're going to do all we can to go there or pivot, versus somebody that doesn't have a plan, isn't going in any direction. They're just kind of waffling in the wind. And when outside forces come calling, like the pandemic, if you don't have a plan, you're gonna get swept away.
Right. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people get squeezed into that. Just say every day I just have to wake up and just do what I can do to get by. And I know there's a lot of issues, but you're absolutely right. I think goal setting also, for me and for the people that I talk to with business, it's really funny, especially with something like home buying or finances. Sometimes it's daunting to think oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to afford a house, or I'm never going to be able to save for my retirement. So when you talk about goals, it's not going to happen overnight. It's like weight loss. You're not going to lose 50 pounds
you
tomorrow.
wish that it happened overnight, right?
So disappointed to find that out, Colette. I thought we were totally covering that today.
So one of the things that we talked here in the show, Hailey, is that we are both investors and we help people trying to get into that space, and how important it is to have a plan, either a financial plan and a goal to become an investor, but also the plans that encumber your whole life, right? And I've in my experience, a lot of people don't have a plan, whether it's a financial plan, life plan, a health plan, anything like that. And I think that that is something that is crucial. Can you give us some tips of people that don't have a plan? How can they get started?
Yeah, for sure. And so one of the best practices that is actually relaxing to do before you even start creating goals is tonight, my friends, when you get into bed and your lights are off and all your stuff's done, you brushed your teeth, you washed your face, you scrambled out your last little bits of your to-do list for tomorrow, when you're finally in your restful bed tonight, turn on what we call a mind movie, or I like to call it a dream cast, and picture your life. You choose any time frame you want to picture. It could be this summer, could be a year from now, 3 to 5 years, retirement. You could pick any time frame you want, but I suggest you label which time frame you want to conjure a vision for, and then really picture for all the parts of your life, what would you like to see true at that future time? And then ask your senses, what would it actually be like? So let's just say you are in a new property that is your primary residence. You also have an investment property that's maybe by the water. You are well insured and looked after. So both Araceli and Colette can help you with that part. You're in a healthy body. Your relationship status lights you up, whether it's single or partnered. You are having a lot of fun and you have a life of meaning. I want you to actually ask your senses, what would that be like? What would your eyes be seeing if this was your real life? What would your ears be hearing? What would you be smelling and tasting and feeling? And it's a great way to go to bed in the dream of the life you haven't created yet, but you'd like to. Maybe when you wake up tomorrow, you can start to take that dream and do a little bit of journaling about it and say, well, what of this do I want badly enough to call it a goal? And which of those goals do I want badly enough to make promises for? And then we build an action plan for anything that's a promise. So if you're saying, oh, it'd be nice to have an investment property sometime in my life, that's not a goal. If you have a goal to have an investment property, that's one thing. But if I have a promise to own a new door 18 months from now in a particular catchment area, now we build an action plan, like reaching out to your mortgage professional and finding out, how do you need to do your taxes this year so you'll qualify next year? And reaching out to your financial advisor to figure out how you're going to do your budget to get ready. Reaching out to your business coach to say, help, how am I going to make more money between now and then so that I'm ready? So the biggest caveat is it's not just goals, ladies. We need to figure out which of our goals can be claimed as promises. Those are the only ones we're going to launch into a massive action plan about. And those are the ones that are going to come true or mostly true.
Oh, yeah. I really like that word, promise, because it's just better. Because I think goals is kind of overrated already, and kind of people, okay, I made a goal, but it's not
nice.
The goal, right?
Yeah, it'd be nice if it happened, but gives you an out to say.
Yeah, but I find that, so for years and years, we've always been forced, as women. I don't know if men even do it, but in the groups and circles that I've belonged to with networking groups for women specifically, and talking about, oh, we have to do a vision board. Let's do a vision board. Let's get together and do a vision board. And it's this whole thing. Okay, yeah, now I have this vision board and I have all these pretty pictures on a board.
Now what?
But now what? And then I'm just going to put it away and sock it away somewhere till later, and then take it out and go, oh, that's nice. But
so let's talk about that, Colette. That's a great one. So my belief, ladies, is that if there are many roads that lead to Rome, why step on just one at a time? So there are some schools of thought that believe in the set it and forget it manifesting method. That's the principle of The Secret. Make your vision board, put it in a drawer, detach, wait for it to come true.
Exactly.
I'm a lot more A-type than that, and I need to be doing everything I can also.
Of course.
So action. Totally. Set it and forget it. Sure. You can add that as one layer of your strategy. Yeah. But the next layer of your strategy is to actually claim what you want and start to work it backwards. Let's use a financial goal. Well, let's keep something with easy numbers. Let's just say you want to make $120,000 in the year 2022. We want to start to work that backwards and chunk it into quarters. That's like earning $30,000 a quarter. That's also like earning $10,000 a month. Mm-hmm. That's also like earning $2,500 a week. And that's really like earning $500 a day. That's actually like servicing 5 clients in a day at $100 each. And so if we take a goal that can be broken down and we work it backwards, we can then figure out what are its smaller pieces, like what does it look like in quarters? Then we can take a look at, for that first quarter of your project or your goal, what should you be doing every month? What has to happen every week? What must happen every day? And what are you missing? Are you missing a skill set, a particular mentor, a tool, or an app, or an amount of self-confidence to be able to do it? And if our goals are so airy-fairy that we have no idea how to achieve them, it can be hard to wake up on a Monday and know what to do. So I'd rather know, I'm waking up on Monday, I need to make 10 sales calls, send 5 emails, close 2 out of 3 people, serve in this way, and then my goal is on its way to coming true. What about you, ladies?
I have a question for you with that. So when it comes to goal setting, there are the big lofty goals of saying, okay, I want to make X number of dollars a year versus, maybe I can handle doing, maybe 2 clients extra a year. Like so it's that sort of, if anybody's trepidatious about setting goals and saying, oh my gosh, goal setting means like this huge monster and scary thing.
So that's Darren Hardy teaching the big, hairy, audacious goals, which he calls the BHAGs. And that stuff is awesome if your mental health is ready for it this year.
Yeah.
I love Darren Hardy and I love the book, The Compound Effect. And I'm saying and instead of but. I think that right now.
I caught that.
Yeah, I like that very much.
I think that right now, what more of us need are goals that don't scare your pants off or make you want to throw up. I think what more of us need is to pick something.
Hailey, also the goal has to be a little bit that stretch you, right? So if you're already making, let's say $5,000 a month, but you want to get to 10,000, that might be a little bit scary, but that will stretch you to maybe get to 8,000 instead of, let's say you don't hit it and it's not 10,000, but you get to 8,000, but it's way.
So then we should set our promise.
Yeah.
We should set our goal for 8,000 so that we could actually feel sufficiently proud of ourselves every night, week, month, quarter, and year, and have achieved the thing. And what we should promise for is not the goal of 8,000 a month because it's out of your control. You should promise for the habits and actions that you can control that are likely to get you there. None of us, the 3 of us, can't promise to make $1,000 today, but we can promise how many emails will we send? How many follow-ups will we do? How many people will we super serve so they feel so lucky to be our client? So when we're talking about goals, we've got to figure out what of the goal do you actually want to plan for like it's serious?
Yeah.
And instead of the goal itself, what are the habits and actions you can promise to do that will lead you there? Because as women, if we go to bed at night feeling like we didn't slay the dragon today, there's all these things on our to-do list.
Yeah.
We did all the best things, but we still didn't hit our goal. Yeah, that's because you don't control the scale or your client's spending habits. You can influence it, but you don't control it. We've got to promise for what we can control.
And that's why, I think a lot of people don't realize that when you're self-employed, all 3 of us are self-employed, and it's something that we always need that other person or accountability group or somebody to say, or like a business coach to say, okay, I'm holding you accountable. This is your goal. I didn't want to do this. This is not something that's for me. I just want to help you achieve your goal. So what did you do today or this week or this month to move forward in your goal? And it's so interesting how somebody's brain will change with that accountability. And if that's
because we don't like to let other people down. We are really 100%. Good at letting ourselves down. We don't want to disappoint others. We don't want to look bad. We want to belong. We want to be liked. This is part of our human nature. And so, yes, just being in an accountability group, more specifically though, mentoring in an accountability group where you're the role model, that is the greatest way to show up and say, I did the thing. That thing we were all supposed to do this weekend? Yeah, I did it because I'm holding the accountability group. So I better do it. So you guys do it.
I absolutely love what you said, Hailey, because you're right. Like a lot of us beat ourselves up for not doing more. But if you start changing your habits, and remember, if you want something that you don't currently have, it's because there is something that you are not doing. And that it's a habit that needs to be changed. and constantly changing is that what we need to do in order to strive to get that goal that we want.
Let's talk about that piece, Araceli, because that's brilliant and so on point. Anytime, ladies, that we are stretching for a bigger goal, or what I call an accumulation goal, there's stuff to do over time to get there. You have a by when date. You know, I want this much in my bank account to purchase a house by this date. That's great. But what are all the things that need to have a start date, like now, so that you'll get to your by when date? What are those habits that have to start? But a forgotten area, what are the habits that have to stop? And so when we're setting up for a goal, we say, oh, I need to be more organized. I need to be better with my time. I need to be better with my budget. I need to do. But if we forget to make the list of what do we need to stop doing, what are those habits we need to break? And it's important to look at how we allocate all of our resources, which are time, energy, effort, attention, and intention. Social media notifications is a doozy.
Oh,
That takes a lot of your attention over here and over there and off your goal.
Can you repeat those things? So if anybody didn't pay attention,
Yeah.
say it again, because it's very powerful. It really is. I've heard it before, so I know it's like, oh my gosh.
I want to hear it too.
Yeah.
So these 5 resources.
5 things. That's it. Only 5.
It's a terrible acronym. It stands for IMET. So intention, attention, energy, time, and money. How we allocate our energy, our time, our money, our attention, and our intention, that literally designs the quality of your life. That is what your life looks like. It's what your schedule looks like. It's where you spend your time. It's the experiences you're having or not having, causing or not causing. And so when we're looking at our goals, you were bang on, Araceli, when you said we've got to look at our habits, not just the ones that have to start though. We need to look at where do we need to stop. Somebody could come to you, Araceli, and say, how can I turn my Starbucks purchase into a down payment for something better in the future? Well, there's a habit we need to stop, which is going to Starbucks twice a day. There's the habit we need to start, making coffee for 25 cents at home. And there's other disciplines and behaviors. So it's a little too naive to think that if we just pick a goal and do nothing about it, we're going to get it. Because even if we do, it's like winning the lottery.
Right.
If your character can't keep you where your reality just brought you, you'll lose it. Right. So if we lose 50 pounds overnight or get $50 million overnight, but our habits haven't changed, our worthiness hasn't changed, it's not going to stick around.
That's right. And I think that, I just wanted to go back to the vision board. It is important in the sense that, as you said, Hailey, when you go to bed, and how do you feel? I think when you see, I'm a very visual person. If I see something that I want, that I like, it enhances my feeling. And I think that it's very important. I think that is the goal of having that vision. Exactly.
Yeah, it's the start
because the more that you start feeling that you can accomplish it and that you can get it, the easier it's going to be for you to start moving towards changing those habits, right?
And there's a little micro line in there that's so important, Araceli, and that's the belief. So if it starts from figuring out what do we want, whether it's visual or a dream or a journal or a sketch or a list, we all learn in different styles. From figuring out what we want, we have to answer this subconscious question of, do I believe that's possible for me? Do I believe I'm worthy? Do I believe I'm deserving? Because if we miss the belief step, you're never starting an action plan for the goal you won't get.
Right.
We're not that foolish. And so we are wise beings. We only want to act on things we have a high chance of succeeding with. And we can't forget that belief piece. You've got to believe you're worth having an investment property or a healthier body or a juicier relationship. Because if you don't believe it, I can give you the perfect blueprint and action plan. You're not going to do any of it because it's pointless. You've got to know that it's going to be worth it for you.
Well, the one thing that I hear from certain people in my life that, I try and help them with goals and really achieving goals or just being supportive of whatever they say that their goals are, they get distracted by other things. And that's the killer where we
intention, attention.
I think that it happens to everyone.
Yeah,
have a really good intention, but then something comes up. And
Right.
I think this is kind of the universe telling you, do you really want it? Because it's always going to be distractions for everything, right?
But let's practice grace, ladies. So let's look at it like this. You had a plan to buy a house in June, make X amount of money a month, and get into your healthiest shape. Now you got a cancer diagnosis and a child with special needs who's been removed from school. This isn't as simple as squirrel mind or shiny object syndrome and your attention wavering. Sure. This is life is reorganizing your deck right now. You're going to need to reprioritize, and we want to practice grace with ourselves so we don't still cram all of our first round of goals into a life that has new priorities. We have to rejig. We've got to come back to the drawing board and say, do I need to move some of my finish lines on my big projects? Do I need to put some of those projects on pause? Do I need to delegate and ask for help because I still need them done by a certain time? Which new projects do I need to now commit to and make goals and plans and actions in support of? But we can't just be in denial to say, yeah, no problem. Kid out of school, cancer diagnosis, not feeling well, still going to make 10,000 a month, still going to do. No, we've got to really assess, again, our energy, our effort, our output. What's our capacity to work on things? And nothing is carved in stone. We're going to need to be flexible in how we approach our goals. That's different than letting yourself off the hook because you don't feel like it. Right. There's real reasons to be flexible and practice grace. Then there's laziness and procrastination, and they're two totally different things.
Right. And these, like what you're talking about too, are really heavy things that happen to you within your life. It doesn't even have to be something that heavy. It could just be something very simple, like I can't imagine COVID. Maybe that things change in your life because of something like that you have no control over. So it's not like obviously cancer, you have no control over that, or things happening to your family, but it's this thing where it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? How can you pivot around it to really focus?
And using Araceli's word of stretch. Yeah. If we are like the rubber band, if the rubber band is cold and old, it only needs to stretch a little and it's frail and it's going to break down. So we need to be taking care of our vessel to begin with.
Yes, I agree.
But a rubber band is not going to stretch indefinitely. So you got to know, if you're the rubber band, you got to know your capacity. So if I'm looking at a really thick rubber band that came around my broccoli, I know that thing is pretty tough. I can stretch it a lot. I can put it around Tupperware. It's good. But if it's the little one that came around the newspaper, I can't do too much with it. Yeah. So when we're looking at ourselves and saying, self stretch, I know it's a bad time, but you picked a big goal. Let's still go for it. You've got to answer those honest questions of, how is my mental well-being right now? How is my physical health? How's my energy? What's my capacity? And am I stretching out of kindness because it'll be good for me to strive and get this? Or am I stretching out of cruelty because I won't give myself grace to slow down? And it's a fine line to know where you are in there.
That is so true. And I think that people don't really assess because they're wanting to look at, oh yeah, I have to set up a goal. I have to do this. But we don't really have to. You have to be happy with yourself and what you're accomplishing and how you can stretch that enough to give you that edge and also to feel good about yourself, about what you're doing. I think that is the most important thing. I think when I set goals is, how do I feel when I accomplish this, right?
And how do we feel in the journey?
Yeah.
Like some goals take a long time to achieve. So if we're going to go all in and it's going to be a hellish journey for 3 years, we won't survive the process. Mm-hmm. And one of my mentors once said, it's okay to go out of balance in an area of your life for a season, but not for quarters and years and seasons, because you will put yourself into a state. So if you are in the middle of a divorce, or if you're dating someone brand new, both of those things take time. Sure. If you are just closing on a house and moving in and getting ready, or about to do your corporate taxes for the first time, you're going to be out of balance for a season because you've got something really important taking extra time, and that's okay. We don't have to be perfectly in balance all the time, but when we're running for a goal, we've got to make sure that the rest of our life isn't falling apart to just run for this one thing. Otherwise, we might get the goal, but lose all the other stuff that's meaningful to us in the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a fine balance, fine balance for everything, right? Because there's many things that are important in life, like your health, your relationships, your finances, whatever other goals you want at work as well, right? So finding that right balance is very important when you're setting up your goals.
Colette, what were you saying? You're saying it's funny when?
I was going to say it's really not funny what I was going to say, but like that. I liked your the spending time and thinking about things for a season, because I find that when you're, especially what came to mind was mourning. So if you have somebody that passed away, or you're mourning a relationship even, you have to set up a time to say, okay, enough already. I'm going to give myself this much time to get over the death or the whatever it is, the change that happened in my life. Because I find some people, they never get over it. They never allow themselves to say, okay, this is it. I'm satisfied with the process
and a goal can be the thing, Colette. So when we enter an event in our life where we need extra self-care, extra rest, extra triage, extra appointments with practitioners, we're hurting
help from others.
Yes. So when our cup is in a state of a deficit, the best way to get out of that is to pick a goal. So to say, I'm going to let myself have a November that has a lot of just soul time and downtime. But my December goal is I'm going to start my walk run program December 1st. I'm going to be purging my basement starting December 10th. And I'm going to set up my online profile December 29th, just so, so those little goals can be the catalyst that get us out of a season of insulating and taking care.
Absolutely. And I find that that's what I love about having somebody else to be accountable for, because if you set that intention and that date for yourself, that's fine. But then if you say to someone, hey, Araceli, I want to do this by December 1st, and then I'm like, oh,
what's going on? That's not happening, right?
Right. Yeah. And just because, going back to what you said earlier about making, I can only let myself down, but it's hard for me to let somebody else down. So to actually continue on and do that.
Well, speaking of letting down, I do not want to let down your listeners. Can I share some fast and furious tips on how to create great goals?
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Please do.
Go ahead.
All right, my friends, there are 5 questions that you can ask yourself about any area of your life, and they will help you figure out which goals you want to be setting. They are short. I will also send them as a snippet to Araceli and Colette so they can add them to this video. These are called the 5 questions of shift. So I want you to think right now about an area of your life you've got loads of complaints about. It is nowhere near performing the way you want it to be. It could be your sleep, your body, your money, your relationship, your sense of purpose, your energy levels. Pick anything about your life that you got a lot of complaints with. And as women, we're very good at complaining. So you don't have to tell me what it is, but ladies, can you think of one?
I'm writing them down. So if you need to pause, press pause on the video, or just, Hailey will go slow so we can write everything down.
Promise. Okay. I will go slow, and we won't start until you can think in your mind of an area you've got complaints about. Don't tell me what it is, but Araceli, in a life area you've got complaints
about it, yes.
Okay. Question 1, how is it now? You can either do this with a buddy, where you get to vent all that victim-y yuck about how hard it is, why it doesn't work, what sucks about it, why you're frustrated or sad or mad. Question 1 is your place to say all that is pissing you off about this part of your life. Question 2, how would you rather it be? We shift out of our victim place and the experience of how tough it is, and we shift into our vision-making place. How would you rather it be? To answer question 2, we've got to put some thoughts aside. Need you to put aside, is it possible? Do you deserve it? Do you know how to do it? Is it likely? I want you to forget all of that, put those thoughts in a basket, and just ask that creative part of yourself. If I could have my health, wealth, and relationship be any way I wanted it to be, how would I rather it be? Okay, so question 1, how's it now for the area of your life you've got complaints on? Question 2, how would you rather it be? Question 3, what can be done about it? This is a chance for you to do some brainstorming. Make a big list. Put all ideas, even if they seem like they're a little out there, just make that brainstorm list of what are all the possible things. Let's use health as an example. Somebody might put 7-day water cleanse on their list. I'm not up for that, but that might be on their brainstorm list. Somebody else might say, reach out to the holistic nutritionist in our group. Question 4, from your list of brainstorming. Question 4, what are you willing to do about it? Question 1, how's it now? Question 2, how would you rather it be? Question 3, what can be done about it? Big list. Question 4, whittle the list. What are you willing to do? And question 5, my friends, it's the only one that matters. It'll help you set your goals. What will you do about it in the next 24 hours? And
so what about timing? You don't talk about when do I get all this done by?
Not at the very beginning, because no matter how big the project is, what will you do about it in the next 24 hours is a way to get unstuck and just start. So if you wanted to find a property in 2022 that Colette gets for you and Araceli helps you get your budget ready for, and if that's the big goal, what will I do about it in the next 24 hours? I'll sit down and look at my finances. Or I'll text Araceli and say, I'm scared, help.
Right. Or
I'll email Colette.
It could be as simple as a phone call. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a big giant thing in 24 hours. Yeah.
Just one thing. Yeah. So the short story, ladies, is most of our goals come from either an area of our life we have complaints about or something that doesn't exist yet that would really excite us. It's easier to start from the complaints because they affect you. They take from your happiness.
Can I just say, the goal can't be winning the lottery and I'm going to buy a ticket in the next 24 hours, because really, that's not really,
it's out of your control. So this is outside of you. You can't control. You can't control going to buy the ticket, but the outcome you can't.
Yeah, well, let's actually look at that one, because it's, really, if somebody did set a goal of win the lottery, then their daily habit would be buy the ticket. They might also want to learn some intuitive practices to see how they can get in touch with their best numbers. There are things they could do to influence the habit, but there is nothing they can do to guarantee the outcome. Yeah. So we can't promise to win the lottery. We can promise to become a ticket buyer.
They can pray every day.
Yeah. I'd rather they put that $10 into an investment strategy with Araceli and you, and guarantee that they have a future.
$10 a day.
Take that $10, and invest it in something and let it grow. Like, this is the crazy thing about, things like lotteries. But it's if it brings you joy, like, I'm not saying don't do it, because if it brings you joy and it actually helps, like Princess Margaret or one of those lotteries, that the money's actually going to be helpful to an organization or somebody, then okay, you sort of convince yourself that it doesn't matter if you win, you've already done something nice. So
I love that, Colette. So just to summarize for your listeners, ladies, the beginning of setting great goals is to first figure out what is it that you want for yourself. And it's usually easiest to start from what's bugging you right now. So I always start from a part of your life that you have complaints about. If it's annoying for you, if it's frustrating for you, you might be very motivated to do something new about it by exploring your possibilities of how you would rather it be, what can be done about it, what you're willing to do, and what you actually will do about it as your first step today can get you rolling on which goals might you want to set for that project in your life. And the other place to look has nothing to do with complaints. It's about your dreams, your wishes, your fantasies, your visions, like what would be wonderful.
Starts that way. Yeah, it always starts that way. But going back to the beginning of the show, when you said, I love that when you go to bed, you're in your bed and your eyes are closing and you're getting into that cycle to go to sleep, and just to imagine what your life can be and what you really want to do with your life. We only have so many years. I don't want to be morbid, but there's only so many days that we can get up in the morning and say, okay, what am I going to do today, and get excited about it. And I love that, to really have that you might not need a vision board. That might not really exist in your world, or something that you really want to
Yeah,
sit
if
down
you're a
and
visual
It's in your
person,
mind, right? It's in your mind.
exactly
As long as you can
in
see
your
it
mind.
in your mind, right? That's basically the vision board.
Yes,
some
exactly.
people are better with writing, so they might write lists about the different parts of their life. Some people are sketchers and doodlers. Others like to leave themselves video clips and voice notes. Some like to make a vision board.
Right.
Wherever you're at, yes, you can do
Pinterest.
digital vision boards.
Yeah.
The best thing about goals, we can go back to the oldies and the goodies, like setting SMART goals. So you want to set specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. But more important than that, you want to figure out which piece of your goal is worthy of a promise. And from that promise, what habits need to start, which habits need to stop. How do you take those bigger goals and chunk them into smaller bites? And instead of just wishing for them to come true, what are you actually doing to help them along, to help influence the results? And if you're at all A type, like any of us,
Scream, yay!
doing an action doesn't guarantee a result, but it sure helps you feel more deserving. And here's the thing, ladies, we're all born deserving. We are all deserving of greatness in our lives, but you want to feel deserving about the things you want by doing the best that you can, making the choices that align. And we have to look at, do the choices we make every day, like we talked about those 5 resources,
Okay.
time, energy, attention, intention, and money, do they align with the goals you say matter to you, or are they contradictory? And if so, how can I help?
Very, very important.
There's something that I was doing earlier this week, and I was obviously talking to myself in my head, and it occurred to me. And there's some people that, say to me, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do what you were doing. Oh my gosh, you're this and whatever it is. And honestly, the only difference between me and that other person is the courage to actually try to do it. And to say, this is something that I really want in my life. Either I want to leave a legacy, or if I want to, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, but I want to learn how to cook a pasta. I don't know, whatever it is. It could be a small thing, but if that's something that I have the courage to try to do it, I think that's something that we all forget, that it takes courage to do something big or small, or whatever goal you have in your life.
And we're never too old to start.
Yeah.
And we're never too young to start.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And don't worry about it blowing up in your face, because that's life. That's the excitement and the journey to get there. That's part of the process, which you should feel good and excited and passionate and all those great things about life, that to actually write down a goal takes courage. So I want to say, like, thank you, Hailey, for coming, because
Yeah, absolutely.
both of us feel really energized by
Oh,
you
yeah.
and oh my gosh, okay, now it's 2022, and I know people say, oh yeah, gotta do that New Year's plan and all that nonsense, but you can do a goal tomorrow. You can do it today. You can do it in a week.
Not all goals have to start on a Monday, but you don't have to go through it alone. And so I am always here to help, always offer the first session for 30 minutes for free. If you're somebody that has wanted to set goals, but is afraid because you feel like you don't achieve them or you don't set them well, you can always book in a free 30-minute session. And backed by popular demand, I teach the same class every year. I teach it twice around the New Year's, and that class is called Designing Your Best Year Ever. It is going to run on December the 14th as well as January 10th, and it's a 4-hour Zoom class that goes by really fast, where you'll actually get to set goals for 6 different areas of your life, from personal to business and everything in between. You'll learn how to chunk them down into their smaller pieces, come up with those action steps, and really look at, what do you do with your 168-hour week? Where does all your time go? How can you get some of it back? And so for your listeners, ladies, I would like to take $10 off the registration for that class. And so I'll send you some stuff. You can post it in the comments.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Hailey, that I have attended your workshop, and it is phenomenal. It has a lot of the practical applications, the little things that you don't think about that actually make things happen easier. So for those you listening to this, if you don't know Hailey, please get to know her and attend her workshop. It is absolutely fantastic. It will make, like, even if you've never set goals or anything like that, it will get you to a good start. That's for
Well,
sure.
that can be a
I
goal.
love you. And the
That
good
can
news,
be a
guys,
goal. Yeah.
it's for your listeners, it is $79 all in, taxes included, to come and spend 4 hours. It's not a $10,000
That's not even a
course.
pair of shoes. Come on.
Yeah,
you want to get to
exactly.
your goals to buy 500 pairs of shoes. You got to take Hailey's course first and then do it. But that's the thing. A lot of us don't know how to start, or we get overwhelmed because like there's 500 things that we're thinking like, oh, it's going to be too hard. It's going to be too much. It's going to be, I don't have the courage to start. But this is the thing. If you set, this is the whole reason for the show. You set a plan, you set a goal, you set your timing to get there.
Yeah. So what time it is again? It says December 14th. What time?
Tuesday, December the 14th. The class is going to run from 10:30 till 2:30. Bring your lunch. And it's also going to run on Monday, January the 10th. And it's going to run from 9:30 till 1:30. Bring your lunch, bring your calendar. The reason I do the class on Zoom is because we can have people attending from anywhere in the world. And I will make sure that you get all of the tools. We work through a whole bunch of handouts and worksheets. I believe learning is done best when it's in your personal preferred style and when it's tangible and practical. So you can do more than just say, oh, that was a good idea. You can practice the skill. You can write it. You can have a tool you take with you to use again and again.
I find too, when I attend courses or when I attend workshops like that, I tend to forget after a year. So even if you've taken Hailey's course, to do it again next, just to have like a refresher course, because there are things that you forget along the way of like, oh, okay, what was the next step, or how do we do that? Or if you just need that little push or that support by the group that's there.
Absolutely.
And Colette, we do a buddy program. So you mentioned earlier the importance of having an accountability buddy. The way I do this class every year is that if your buddy comes and buys their ticket, you come with them for free. What that looks like behind the scenes is you might each give each other half of it. But that way you've got an accountability buddy, someone you already love and get along with, who takes the class with you. Now you've got your accountability partner to go implement, get your calendars and your actions plans filled in, and then check in with each other every week on, okay, are we really doing it?
That's really incredible. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, that is, what Colette and I did last year when COVID started. And so we are accountable to each other to do this show, which it has been, it's brought us so much joy, accountability. We prepare, we do little things, outside the show.
We enjoy it too. It's very organic.
It's fantastic.
Gives you guys a reason to put makeup on and be out of pajamas throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, I have to get out of my sweats and actually wear something at least half of me
from the waist up.
Yeah. I still got my slippers on, so you don't see those, so it's okay.
I want to thank you both so much for letting me come and hang out with you on your show today.
Thank you.
That's awesome, Hailey. And for all those listening, please make sure that you connect with Hailey. I'm going to put all of the information below and register for one of those two workshops on December 14th. And it's January 7th, you said?
January 10th.
January 10th. Okay, so December 14th, January 10th. Believe me, that is the best money that you will ever spend. And that is going to set you up for the whole year. So.
Until you spend money on your budget and your financial future and your next dream home with Colette, but we'll get you set up for that money. We'll work it all out.
That's all. Whatever you want. That's absolutely.
Well, thank you, Hailey, for having you. I hope that you can join us next year again for some more fantastic tips, and we'll see you next week.
Love you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye for now.